would be facing some kind of pressure at least, because at the end of the day it's a government exam. So yeah, everyone wants to get into the government job. So guys, don't worry. As I mentioned yesterday also, exam questions, they're going to be easy. But if exams going to come easy, it does not mean that you stop working hard. You have to work hard every day, right? So we'll start with a beautiful quote here by Walt Disney. So everyone knows who Walt Disney is. So if you can dream it, you can do it. So definitely, guys, if you have dreamt of your goal of joining as an FSA officer or TO, you can definitely do it. Just stay focused and work hard every day, right? Okay. So guys, with these beautiful lines, so let's start our today's topic. So today we'll be covering about overview of the food additives with respect to their technological functions. So guys, basically this topic is really, really interesting. So we'll be talking about all the food additives, different type of food additives that are being used in the food products that we consume every day. And we'll be also talking about their technological functions. Technological functions means why they are used. There should be reason, right? Why these we are adding these food additives. At the end of the day, they are majorly chemicals. There are few natural food additives as well, but chemicals, as you know, they are always beneficial from the business point of view. So yeah, so we'll be talking about what all are the food additives that are being used, and their technological functions, and also their harmful effects, so that you guys are also aware that the foods that you consume every day, they are loaded with these additives. And why they are loaded, we'll discuss about that. And also, if you consume those products in excess, so what all repercussions they can have on your health. So we'll talk about all this. So let's begin. So guys, to begin with, first I would like to summarize this lesson. So today we'll be talking about food additives. So initially we'll talk about the food additives definition as per FSSAI Act. So FSSAI has given a complete definition of what food additives are. So we'll learn about that, what that definition is, and then we'll learn about all these major food additives that are being used every day in our foods that we eat. So these can be acidity regulators, these can be anti-caking agents, bulking agents, anti-foaming agents, antioxidants, then emulsifiers, humectants, stabilizers, then artificial sweeteners, right? And these are just few important additives which I have covered. Then there are also flavoring agents, and also there are chemical additives. So guys, additives and preservatives, there's a very thin line between them. So majority of the chemical additives, or say the chemicals which are used in our everyday processed food, so I'll cover all those chemicals in food preservative part. So here I'll be focusing majorly on the important food additives. So let's begin with our lecture. So guys, let's understand the definition which FSSAI has given. So if you can see on your screen, and also guys, one more thing I would like to tell you before starting this lecture. So FSSAI Act is very, very important. So please, you can cover all those acts from my YouTube video. I have, explained everything in detail. So I would request you, all of you, to go and just have, just go through my videos at least, so that you get a basic idea, because FSSAI Act is a very, very important topic. And mind you guys, a lot of questions were asked from FSSAI Act last year, and this year also a lot of questions would be asked. And the another second important documents you should refer is that is Food Safety Officer Manual. So I'll do one thing in case you guys don't have access to these documents, and definitely I know you would be having the access to these documents, FSSAI Act, because they are freely available on the FSSAI website, and Food Safety Officer Manual. In case you don't have, anyways, I'll share those links with you. You can just click on those links and download. these two documents. So these are very, very important. Just keep in mind, right? So I'll share it with you today. So guys, as per the FSSAI Act 2006, so food additives means any substance not normally consumed as a food by itself or not normally used as a typical ingredient of food, whether or not it has nutritive value, but the intentional addition of is it's added because of the technological properties, that is including organoleptic purpose in manufacturing, processing, preparation, treatment, packing, packaging, or holding of such food stuff. So guys, what this definition is, I'll explain you in very, very simple words. So before explaining it, I'll take you one slide behind. So what this definition is trying to say, just a second. Yeah. So guys, have you eaten these additives like a food? I'm sure you never would have eaten any acidity regulator or anti-caking agent. Do you guys eat in breakfast? Do you take bulking agent or anti-foaming agent, stabilizer, humectant, emulsifier? I'm 100% sure you would have not eaten these food additives as a food, but these are added to the food because they provide certain properties to the food. For example, organoleptic properties. Organoleptic property means it adds certain flavor to the food, or it gives certain property to the food which helps the food to remain in a certain shape, or it also helps food in packaging, longer storage, and also for transportation purpose. So that is what is the basic definition of food additive. So coming to the definition, I think now you would be able to relate it as per the FSSAI Act. Food additive means any substance not normally consumed as a food by itself. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, we never eat bulking agent, we never eat acidity regulator, emulsifier in our breakfast or lunch, right? And second, not normally uses a typical ingredient of food. And have you seen our mothers using these ingredients in our food while cooking our lunch or breakfast or dinner? Never, because these are majorly used in processed foods. For example, all the major food manufacturing companies, be it sauce company or be it mayonnaise company. So these are the major companies which use these additives. Third point, whether or not it has nutritive value. So it does not it it is not supposed to have any nutrition to it. So that is the third point which FSSAI Act says. And fourth, the intentional addition is to the food for technological purpose. So as I mentioned, it is just added for the technological purpose. For example, it would give certain flavor to the food. It would keep the food in intact shape, or it would help food in preservation or during packaging, or it would preserve food while transportation. So food additives function is only these 4 5 functions, right? So now moving ahead, so it may be the byproduct becoming as a component or the otherwise affecting the characteristics of such food. So for example, guys, this food additives is ultimately added inside the food. So definitely it would remain in the food. So either that ingredient would itself remain in the food, or it would become as a byproduct. It would turn itself into a byproduct, and then it would be you will be present in the food, and then we'll be consuming that additive along with that food. I hope it's clear, guys. Definition is clear. Just drop me a message if definition is clear. Hello, guys, my voice is audible, right? Okay. Is it clear now, or audible is clear? Is my voice clear, guys? Some are saying that you okay. Okay, okay. Fine. So, guys, those who are facing any issue with the sound, that could also be possibly the issue with your internet, guys. So kindly just be in an area where you have good internet connectivity, right? So majority of are saying that it's clear, voice is also clear. Okay, so we'll move ahead. So guys, in case you have any issue with this definition, just get back to me on WhatsApp. I'll explain you, because understanding this definition is very, very important, because complete chapter is based on that. And this is the crux of our chapter, right? So moving ahead. So now, guys, we'll have a look at the classification. Classification, as I have already shared. So food additives are basically classified into acidity regulators, anti-caking agents, or it can be bulking agent, anti-foaming agent. It can be antioxidants, emulsifiers, humectants, stabilizer, or artificial sweeteners. So now we will cover each and every food additive in detail. And then we'll also talk about why they are used, although the name itself suggests why they might have been used in the product, but we'll cover that in detail, and also their harmful effects, right? And will take very, very beautiful examples, so you guys would be able to relate that the food that you eat every day, so you are eating food additives every day, right? So guys, first let's talk about the acidity regulator. So acidity regulator, guys, it's nothing but it increases the acidity of the food products. And as you all know, if the food product, I mean, acidity is high, then it's very difficult for bacteria or fungi to survive, right? So bacteria and fungi, they cannot survive in highly acidic environment. So it is basically added to increase the acidity of the food product, and also to preserve against the bacteria and fungi, and it improves the organoleptic properties. I mean, uh, these acidity regulators, they provide specific taste to the food, that tangy taste, right? So for example, if you take a example of the tomato sauce, so this Del Monte, this everyone knows, everyone would have consumed it. So in this, the acidity regulator that is used is acetic acid. So acetic acid is, guys, its INS number is 260. So INS number is basically, these food additives are just classified, they are given a particular number. So in Europe, the number starts with E, but in India, the number starts with INS. So this is just a nomenclature, you need not to remember these numbers. This is just for your understanding, because when you go and buy any product, so during buying any product, so majorly these numbers are mentioned. For example, if you see in this ingredient list, so you will see INS 260. So if you see, it's mentioned acidity regulator INS 260. So all additives, they have a specific nomenclature, they have a specific number. So if you go to the market next time and if you see acidity regulator and INS 260, so it means it's an acetic acid. So acetic acid is being used in this product as a acidity regulator. So guys, I hope it's clear. So as I already mentioned, so major function of the acidity regulator is to increase the acidity of the food. It majorly preserve our food against bacteria and fungi, means it increases the shelf life of the product. That is why these products, they can survive at least for 8 to 9 months because of these preservatives. And further, it improves the organoleptic quality. Organoleptic quality means its aroma, its taste, everything, right? So I hope it's clear. So moving ahead. So now, guys, let's talk about the harmful effect. So the major harmful effect with acidity regulator is mild stinging or burning, difficulty in breathing, swelling of face, lips, tongue, or throat. So guys, these harmful effects are, you can face only if you consume these product in high quantity. And these effects are majorly because of the acetic acid or the acidity regulators that are present in the food. That food might not be having that bad effect, but the acidity regulators ultimately, at the end of the day, these are chemicals. So chemicals, they have a really harmful effect on us. So it could, if you eat any tomato sausage, for example, uh, if you eat this tomato ketchup, Del Monte, tomato ketchup in excess, so it might give you stingy or burning feeling or difficulty in breathing, swelling of face, lips, tongue, and throat, right? So moving on to next. So now let's talk about the anti-caking agent. So anti-caking agent, as the name itself, clarifies a lot of things. It does not, that is, it prevents cake formation or from sticking together. So imagine, guys, if anti-caking agent is not added to the salt. So when you go to the shop, you buy a salt. So it would be like in the form of cake. So that is very very difficult to use. So now companies, they have come out with a chemical which acts as an anti-caking agent, and it prevents cake formation, or it prevents the salt from sticking together. So now if you see here in Tata Salt, the anti-caking agent that is used is INS 536. So INS 536, if you see, it is potassium ferrocyanide. So although cyanide is harmful for our health, but we will talk about this in our next slide, how it's harmful and in what conditions it can be harmful. So anti-caking agent, as you know, it's just for preventing cake formation, and in anti-caking agent used in salt majorly is INS 536, and that is known as potassium ferrocyanide. So guys, these are the only things that you need to remember or you need to learn from the examination point of view, as I also suggested yesterday. And also, if you see your syllabus, it has mentioned overview of food additives. Means you don't have to do PhD in food additives. You just have to know about the major food additives that are being used in our everyday products that we consume. What are their functions? That is their major technological functions that we are already mentioning here, because they prevent cake formation. And also, we are doing one additional point: what are their harmful effects? Because at the end of the day, you guys are consuming these products every day, so you guys can take care so that you don't consume any of such products in excess. So now moving ahead. So as you know, potassium ferrocyanide. So cyanide, as you know, it's a very very toxic chemical. So if you read in detail, it is classified as neutral salt and is used increasingly nowadays in iodized salt as an anti-caking agent. So this and by the way, guys, all the food additives that we are talking about today, these are approved by FSSAI, and that goes without saying, because since they are already being used in these products, definitely they are approved by FSSAI. If FSSAI has not approved, no company can use such food additives in their products. So all these food additives that we are talking about, they are approved by FSSAI. But definitely, I mean, since at the end of the day these are chemicals, so chemicals always have some harmful effect on our body, right? So yeah, so potassium ferrocyanide is, it is widely being used as an anti-caking agent, not only in salts, but also in majority of other products. Though there should be no cause of concern at low quantities used. Adding acid to an aqueous solution of E536 releases toxic hydrocyanide gas. So guys, it's clearly mentioned, as you all know, we only take a pinch of salt in our food. So pinch of salt does not harm us. It has no harm on our health. So in lower quantities, these additives are definitely helpful. But in case they are being used in aqueous solution of acids, so that time they can form cyanide gas. So cyanide gas is very very toxic. It could lead to choking and even death. So make sure acids, harmful acids are not mixed with, for example, salt should not be added to these harmful aqueous acids. Otherwise, this can lead to production of cyanide gas. And although not mutagenic, it can cause irritation if ingested inhaled or it comes in contact with skin. So they have clearly mentioned that potassium ferrocyanide is not mutagenic, means it would not cause any cancer. It's not a cancer causing agent, but it can cause serious irritation, right, when it's ingested or inhaled or comes in contact with skin, and that too in excess quantity, not in minor quantities, excess quantities, right? And the third point, it is toxic when consumed in large amounts and accumulates in our body. And definitely, guys, uh, anything in excess is toxic to our body. If you are eating, healthy food every day, but in excess quantity, even that can have bad effect on your health. For example, if you eat spinach every day, spinach is very, very healthy, but spinach has oxalates, and we'll talk about oxalates later stage. So spinach has oxalates. Oxalates are not at all, good for your health. So similarly, anything in excess is really, really harmful. So whatever, all the processed food must be eaten in moderation. And also, once you join FSSAI as a food safety officer, technical officer, or if with God's grace tomorrow you also go at higher position once you join the FSSAI, so it is your duty to spread awareness amongst the people. And also, you might be knowing that FSSAI is spreading awareness at various digital portals. So we'll be talking about this topic in detail, the awareness that FSSAI is spreading in the FSSAI initiatives. So we'll cover all these details. And now, guys, try to connect all the topics, right? So I'll also teach you how you can connect one topic to the another topic. So since this is just second class, once we are done with sufficient classes, like say at least 20 to 30 classes, so you guys will automatically start relating to one topic to the another, right? Fine. So guys, now coming to the bulking agent. So bulking, as you all know, even this word clearly defines. So bulk means nothing but adding volume or weight to the food. So a bulking agent, guys, majorly it's a non-nutritive additive. It has no nutrition by itself. If you eat bulking agent, it would neither give you any calories, zero calories, but it is just added to the food to increase the volume of the food, and it does not affect the taste and keeps it utility and functionality intact. So bulking agent, you can see it's just an inert substance which is just added to increase the volume of the food or the weight of the food. So for example, if you see here custard, and example, if you see, the starch is one of the major bulking agent that is used. Along with starch, the another bulking agent that is used is guar gum. So today we'll be talking about the starch. So if you see in the custard powder, so here major ingredient is starch. So starch, guys, here it acts as a bulking agent. So if you see here, along with starch, they have added salt, synthetic food colors. So we'll be talking about the food colors when we talk about the preservatives in detail. We'll talk about them. And if you see, then they have mentioned naturally flavoring substances. So in custard, you are consuming only the bulking agent, that is starch, nothing else, and everything else is just the synthetic food colors, or natural or identical flavoring substances. That's it. So custard is one of the major example of the bulking agent, and starch is one of the major bulking agent. So it's used for increasing the volume of the product, nothing else. It has no nutrition value. It would give you zero calories. Okay. And it does not affect the taste and keeps it utility and functionality intact. So it has no other impact on your food that you eat, right? I hope it's clear. Okay. So guys, yeah, so as you all know, starch at the end of the day is a sugar. So sugar is majorly linked with diabetes. So the harmful effect, if you eat uh, food which are highly loaded with bulking agents, for example, starch is one of the bulking agent. So if you eat high starchy food, in excess, so it could have very, very bad repercussions on your body. For example, if you see, diets in refined research are linked to high risk of diabetes, heart disease, weight gain, blood sugar spike, and it spikes rapidly and falls sharply. So yeah, I mean, it's self-explanatory, right? Just a second, guys. Okay. So yeah, I mean, yes. So guys, if you see here definitely starch at the end of the day is a sugar. So sugar would have calories. So this is just the example that I gave here. The example that I gave of the custard. This is just to give you the explanation. I mean, here starch would definitely give you the calories. It would give you the calories, but the bulking agent, for example, another bulking agents, they would give you no nutritive additives. They would give you no calories. But here definitely starch, as at the end of the day it's a sugar. So if it's a sugar, it would definitely, if it's giving you calories, it is increasing your weight, and it would lead to diabetes, and it would increase in blood spike rapidly. And coming to the second point, this is especially important for the people with diabetes and pre-diabetic, since their bodies cannot efficiently remove sugar from the blood. So food high in starch, if starch is one of the bulking agents, so it should not be consumed by the diabetic and pre-diabetic patients. So I'll do one thing, I'll also give you one more example later on, of the bulking agent. For example, if you talk about the starch, so I mean, this is a valid point. Starch definitely give you calories. So yeah, I mean, it has a nutritive value, but majorly the bulking agent, there does not have any nutritive value. I hope it's clear. Okay. So now coming to another food additive, that is anti-foaming agent. So anti-foaming agent. So these are majorly chemical additives that reduces and hinders the formation of foam in industrially processed liquids. So guys, if you see here, majorly, anti-foaming agents, they are majorly used in the cooking oils that we used. So, and the anti-foaming agent that is being used, that is its name, if you can see here, its name is polydimethyl siloxane, so INS 900A. So if you notice this ingredient list, so here it's clearly mentioned anti-foaming agent that is used in 900A. So why anti-foaming agent is required? Because uh, what explanation is given about the why anti-foaming agents must be added. One classic example is, for example, McDonald's. So McDonald's, they clearly mention on their website that they use anti-foaming agents in their oil in which they cook all their food, in which they cook their fries. The major issue is to protect their crew or the cooks from the excessive foaming or splashing or bubbling which occurs when food is added to very hot oil. So, and it's a normal mentality, right? So if you see any froth, right, when for example, if you go to your sweet shop, so if they are making sweets, or you can say they are making samosas, so if you see any froth coming on the oil, so that is not pleasant to see. And moreover, you don't feel like eating the food that is on which foam is formed, right? So that is why anti-foaming agent, these are one of the additives which are used to majorly in the industrially processed liquids, especially the cooking oils. And also, as McDonald's mentioned on their website, they add it to protect their employees or the cooks from the foaming or splash or bubbling, excess bubbling which might be formed when oil is cooked at high heat, right? So this is one of the major reason. So INS 900A is majorly used in Saffola Gold. And next time when you go to the market and if you see anti-foaming agent INS 900, I'm sure, pretty sure you guys can definitely guess it, why it's being used, and what is INS 900A. So now talking about its harmful effect. So there is no definitive proof that it poses any immediate danger to the health. So anti-foaming agent, there is no scientific study which proves that it has an immediate danger to our health. When looking at other ingredients found in products containing additives, dimethyl polysiloxane is very, very safe. So guys, in comparison to other harmful chemicals, as we'll be reading about food preservatives, at that time you will get to know the harmful chemicals that are being used in our processed foods on daily basis. So in front of them, so this additive dimethyl polysiloxane, it's nothing. It's just a, it has no detrimental effect on our body, and it's very safe to consume. So I hope anti-foaming agent is also clear. So guys, I think things are clear. Right? And my voice is also audible, and till now things are clear. Just let me know. Okay. Fine. Thank you so much, guys. Students have already responded. So fine. Okay. So we'll move ahead now. Okay. So now coming to the antioxidants. So antioxidant is the another food additives which is majorly found in the oils, because why it is used in oils, antioxidants, because oxygen, when it comes in contact with oil, especially with oils or fats, it makes the oils rancid. So rancid gives the food and or the oil very bad taste or bad flavor. So no one would like to eat samosas or any pakoras or anything cooked in rancid food, because it would change the property of the foods and it would be giving very bad taste and very bad aroma. Right. So now let's talk about the antioxidants, and also I'll explain in next slide. So we'll try to relate this with our yesterday's lecture. So there is a very important point which I would be relating it. So you guys also start relating, successive videos to the previous video. So let's talk about antioxidants now. Antioxidants, it prevents food from oxidation. So here majorly it's added in oils, especially in unsaturated oils. So it helps in oxidation prevention, a chemical process which occurs when most uh, cases due to exposure to air. So oxidation occurs, as I said, when any product comes in contact with air. So oxygen goes and combines. And why it goes and combines, I'll talk about it in next slide. So it does not affect taste, and it does affect taste and keeps it utility and functionality intact. So antioxidants, it has no effect on the taste of the food. So it would be very neutral food additive. It will not have any effect on the taste, and it would keep its utility and functionality intact. And if you see here, so if you see on your screen, so the antioxidant that is used is E319, right? So E319, guys, is nothing but TBHQ. So if you guys might have read about TBHQ, TBHQ is nothing but tertiary butyl hydroquinone, right? So this also will be talking about when we in detail we'll talk about when we talk about food preservatives. So it is also one of the very important food preservative which is used in a lot of food, processed foods basically. So, and for the obvious reason, that is it acts as an antioxidant agent, right? And also it preserves the food and also prevent from oxidative rancidity. So rancidity, as I said, it gives very it deteriorates the quality of the food. It gives the bad odor, it gives the bad taste to the food, right? So now let's go to next slide. So guys, I hope you all remember I showed you these two type of fats, that is saturated fat and unsaturated fat. So now if you see here in this saturated fat, so our carbon molecule, it is combined, I mean it is saturated by hydrogen on each and every open space, right? So there is no possibility that another molecule can come and attach, because hydrogen has covered these two carbon atoms on all the places. So it is completely saturated. So now in unsaturated, if you see here, the two positions are empty, right? So this is where our oxygen molecules can come and attach. So that is why majorly in unsaturated fats, antioxidants are added, because if antioxidants are not added, these two positions are empty. So oxygen molecules can come and combine here, and if they come and combine, it would lead the to rancidity, off flavor, off taste, right? And also destroy the uh, uh, this oil product, right? So that is why unsaturated fatty acids, majorly in these unsaturated fatty acid, antioxidants are used, right? Now coming to the harmful effects, it may cause side effects such as stomach tumor at a very high doses. Yes, so it can have a very detrimental effect because it could lead to stomach tumor at very high doses. And definitely that is why, if you relate why the cancer cases are going high these days, because we are consuming a lot of these food additives on our everyday basis. And guys, this is nothing. Food additives are comparatively safe if we compare it with food preservatives. So when we'll talk about food preservatives, you will get to know that how much harmful chemicals you have been consuming throughout your life till date. So that is why the cases of diabetes are rising high, because we'll also talk about the artificial sweetener in our next slide. So artificial sweeteners are being used in our food, and also since these antioxidants are used, it's clearly mentioned it could lead to stomach cancer. So similarly, yeah, so similarly, all these food additives, they have the harmful effects. So this is one of the harmful effect of the antioxidants. Now moving to our next slide. So emulsifier. So emulsifiers, guys, is nothing but emulsifier is any additive which ensure mixing of oil and water together. As you all might be knowing, oil and water, if you mix them, you cannot mix them, oil and water together. They are immiscible. So in order to ensure that they mix properly, because there are a lot of product, for example mayonnaise, be it our tomato ketchup, or be it our ice cream, or all those products in which oil and water are being used. So in order to mix those, emulsifiers are the additives which ensures that oil and water mix together and they stay together. Imagine if the emulsifiers are not used and you go to the market and buy the mayonnaise packet, and when you come home, the water has oil has come to the top and water has dropped to the bottom. So it would be it you can't eat that product, right? So that is why emulsifiers are used, so that water and oil remains consistently throughout the product, right? So the example of emulsifier that is being used in this mayonnaise especially is the hydroxypropyl distarch phosphate. So its INS number is 1442, and this is obtained from tapioca starch. So tapioca is a plant. So majority of the South Indian students, and definitely even throughout the India, tapioca is famous, but majority it's eaten in South India. So South Indian students who are from South India, they would definitely relate it. Tapioca is one of the plants whose roots are majorly eaten as a food, or as a dish. So this additive is obtained from tapioca starch, right? There is another emulsifier, lecithin. So lecithin, but it is obtained from egg yolk. But if you see here, they have mentioned clearly eggless. So if they use lecithin in their product, it does not serve their purpose, right? Because lecithin is obtained from egg yolk, and if you label your product eggless, so definitely the second option that you are left with, tapioca starch. So tapioca starch, that is INS 1442. And if you see in the list here, so emulsifier INS 1442. So this is majorly being used in this product as an emulsifier to ensure oil and water remains consistent throughout the product and its consistency remains proper. I hope it's clear. Now, moving on to the harmful effects. So, there are no major harmful effects of emulsifiers, but it could cause to diarrhea if consumed in excess. So, as I mentioned, anything in excess is harmful. So, if you guys are having mayonnaise, or even ice creams, or any dessert, so in those majorly the emulsifiers are used. So, never consume in excess, as it could lead to diarrhea, right? So now coming to humectants. So if you talk about humectants, so humectants are nothing but it binds the moisture that is contained in the food, absorbs moisture from the air, and prevent food from drying out, and it stops sugar from crystallizing. So guys, humectants are nothing but for example, if you eat any chocolate, or if you eat any candy, so the classic example would be if you guys eat center fresh, right? Or if you guys eat any of these chocolates. So in center fresh, if you see in the middle or in throughout the product, it's not dry, it's not hard. Why it's not dry or hard? It's very very soft. Even if you eat these chocolates after like a month or a two, they would be in their intact shape, and their quality would be good. That is majorly because of the humectants. So humectants ensure that the water that is present in that product, the amount of right quantity of water that is required inside the product, that is present in the product, it is not lost. And if that water evaporates or it's lost, so that product would dry out and you would never like to consume those products, right? So it ensures that the moisture is contained in the product is retained, and it absorbs moisture from the air. It prevents food from drying out. So this is one of the major reason. It keeps the water, it's key. It prevents the food from drying out and also stop the sugar from crystallization. So if crystallization occurs, even if during crystallization also, you won't be, it would give the taste would again won't be good if you eat all these candies or high sugar products basically. So it would lead to crystallization of normal in normal conditions crystallization would take place, but humectants ensure there is no crystallization. So the example if you see is glycerol. So if you see in this product, Bounty miniature chocolates, so if you see here, so E442. So if you see humectant is mentioned here, E442. So it is glycerol, nothing but glycerol. And mind you guys, majority of the ingredient, I mean, majority of the chocolates or the candies which you see or which you eat every day, you will see glycerol is one of the major humectant that is used. And now next time when you buy a pack of chocolate or a pack of candies, so don't forget to read the ingredients, right? So this would give you the practice also. I mean, you would further able to identify the additives. That is why guys, I said before starting the lecture, that even yesterday I said that this exam is such a interesting exam. I mean, don't take it as an exam, but take it as a knowledge that you would gain from this, while preparing from this exam. So your life would change, at the end of the I mean, before exam definitely. Once you are ready, once you have done your revision twice or thrice, then you would be guiding people, because at the end of the day when you join as a FSO or TO, you would be given big responsibility of helping India to eat safe and healthy food. So that training starts directly from before the exam. So once I assure you, once you guys revise your syllabus twice or thrice, once we are done with the our course, then you would be a completely changed person. You will eat, and every day you will eat in proportions. You will eat healthy foods. You will try to avoid all these processed foods. I guarantee that. Now, moving next. So, if we talk about the harmful effect of the glycerol, so glycerol seems this seems to be safest for most of the adults, but when taken in excess, it can cause side effects like headache, dizziness, bloating, nausea, vomiting, thirst, and diarrhea. I mean, these are the most common of symptoms which you guys also would have imagined if you eat excess of chocolate or if you eat excess of candies. So these are the major which everyone would have faced: headaches, dizziness, bloating, vomiting, thirst, or diarrhea, right? So these are the all these symptoms are caused because of glycerol, which is present as a food additive in our products, right? Okay, so now talking about stabilizers. So guys, stabilizer, again I have taken here example of mayonnaise. So stabilizer as actually the best part of food additives, this topic is, these words are self-explanatory. So now if you see a stabilizer is an additive which is added to the food to preserve its structure, and it prevents oil water emulsion from separating out, and it also prevents fruit from settling in the product, such as jams. So guys, if you see stabilizer is nothing but it helps the food to remain intact. As we spoke about the emulsifiers, so emulsifiers ensure water and oil are mixed together properly throughout the product, but further stabilizer ensures that oil and water emulsions, they do not separate. So emulsifiers are further backed by stabilizers. So they further ensure that the oil and water emulsion, it does not separate, the product remains intact. And especially if you talk about jam, so if you see, if you take a box of jam, so you will see it never settles down, right? For example, if you take a spoon, 2 or 3 spoons, like it remains intact each and every time. And that is because of stabilizers, because stabilizer gives it a shape, proper shape, right? So here if you see, INS 415 is the xanthan gum. So if you see here, emulsifier and stabilizers, and also remember, emulsifier and stabilizers are like brothers. They help each other, especially the stabilizer ensure emulsification is proper. It ensures that emulsifier is working properly. And further, the stabilizer which is used in this product is INS 415. So INS 415 is nothing but the xanthan gum, right? I hope it's clear, guys. Just give me thumbs up in the comment box if things are clear, right? Okay, okay, fine. No, actually, someone has mentioned our stabilizer are kind of emulsifier. No, guys, stabilizers are not emulsifiers. They further help the emulsifiers to work properly, right? They stabilize it. They further stabilizes the water and oil emulsion. They themselves are not the emulsifiers. They just help to, remain emulsifier in its proper shape, right? Means emulsifier has got the backing of stabilizer, right? So xanthan gum is the stabilizer that is used here. So if you talk about the emulsifier was lecithin. So here stabilizer is xanthan gum. I hope it's clear. Okay, so everyone has given thumbs up. And guys, don't worry. In case your connection is weak and if you get lost, if you get dropped off of the meeting, don't worry. Definitely we'll share the lectures with you. And guys, also one important thing, those lectures which we have put on YouTube, those are visible only for you guys, and it's not visible for the public, or for it's not visible to everyone. So please don't share those links. Keep those links with you. If you share it, then the other person can watch. But if you keep those links with you, then no one can watch. So definitely you guys are attending these live classes, you have paid for it. So those are lectures only for you, not for other people, right? I hope it's clear. So please keep those lectures with you, those links safe with you, right? Okay. So someone is saying, sir, please explain INS. So guys, INS is nothing. INS is just a nomenclature. In Europe, as I said, this number 415 is followed by E. In Europe, if you go to Europe, if you eat any product which are, uh, I mean, which are imported from Europe, or even in Indian products. Many Indian products, they use INS instead of INS, they use E nomenclature. So it is nothing. It is just the nomenclature. So don't go into depth. What is INS? What is E? It hardly would make any difference, or it is not at all important from the examination point of view. Just remember this number 415. Be it INS, be it E, it is same, right? Yes. Okay. So moving ahead. So if will talk about the harmful effects of stabilizers. So if you see the stabilizers, it could cause digestive issues. That is, it would upset your stomach. It increase the frequency of stool or gastritis problem. So these are very, very common issues. And it could also cause allergy, because the source of xanthan gum is sugar. And it comes with a plenty of places, that is wheat, corn, or dairy. Or if you are allergic to any of them, then avoid consuming xanthan gum. So one of the major harmful effect is digestive issues. It could lead to, diarrhea or frequency of stools. And it could also cause allergy, because guys, xanthan gum is obtained from all these sources. It is made from wheat or corn or soya or dairy. So all these products, These are the allergy causing products or foods. So if you see xanthan gum in this product, ensure that you guys are not allergic to these products, right? So these are the two major harmful effects. So now coming to our next food additive, that is artificial sweetener. So artificial sweetener, if you see, these are nothing but substitute for our natural table sugar, right? So these are the chemicals which are added to some foods and beverages to make them taste sweet. So taste similar to the table sugar, but to several thousand times sweet. The amount needed to sweeten the product is so small that you end up consuming 0 calories. So guys, you might have seen a Coke zero calorie food, or sugar free, those tablets which are available in the market, sugar free tablets, or be it any diet Coke, or be it any food product which mention that zero sugar. But when you drink that, it definitely tastes sweet. Why it tastes sweet? Because of the artificial sweetener that is being added to that. So these artificial sweeteners are 1,000 times sweeter than the normal sugar that we eat, but it gives us no calorie. Why? Because these artificial sweeteners are used in very very minuscule quantity. I mean, if only zero point 0.1 ml or zero point 0.1 gram, that is only that much artificial sweetener is needed to be added to say 1 kg of the product. So zero point 0.1 gram is nothing. It's almost nothing. It's zero. So that is why it gives you no calories, and that is where these food manufacturing companies, they advertise their product as a I mean diet food, or 0 calorie drink. So they take the advantage of all these scientific factors, and they market their food and sell this food to their consumers. But on contrary, we'll see its harmful effect in our next slide, because if it's consumed in high quantity, so then definitely, since it's 1,000 times sweeter, and if you are drinking soda every day, if you are drinking diet Coke every day, it would definitely lead to diabetes, because 1,000 times sweetener. But if you are taking point 1 ml, 0.2 ml every day, imagine by the end of the year you would have consumed a lot high amount of this sugar in your body, and this would definitely lead to diabetes. So if you talk about center fresh, so the artificial sweetener that is used in it is sucralose, that is INS 955. So if you see here INS 955, it's mentioned sweetener. The name of the sweetener is sucralose. So sucralose is the major sweetener used here. And if we talk about the harmful effect of this artificial sweetener, may cause diabetes. Yes, as I mentioned, one of the major cause, since at the end of the day it's a sugar, it's a sweetener, it can cause diabetes. Because if you are consuming zero point 0.1 ml every day, imagine at the end of the year you would load your body completely with sugar that is 1,000 times sweeter than our normal sugar, normal table sugar, right? So major cause is diabetes, and it also affects the gut health. I mean, our bacteria, bacteria are present everywhere. Even in our gut, there are many beneficial bacteria which helps the food to break down. So if you take all these, artificial sweeteners or other food additives, foods which are loaded with additives, so this can definitely affect the health of the gut. And there was a small study which was carried out. So after 12 weeks, rats that consumed sweetener had 40 to 70% less bacteria. So there was a small study. In that study, rats were given these artificial sweeteners. So after 12 weeks, so they found after just 12 weeks that 40 to 78 good bacteria were absent from the gut of these rats. So you can imagine, if you guys are consuming Coke or Pepsi or any such drink or a food which is loaded with artificial sweeteners, so guys, refrain from eating or buying those products, because manufacturing companies, they would advertise their product, because that is their marketing strategy. They would advertise it in such a way to lure the customers would go and buy their products because they are marketing it as zero calorie product or zero sugar added. But the amount of sugar that is added is 1,000 times more. I mean, artificial sweeteners, right? I hope it's clear, right? Okay, fine. So, moving on to our next slide. Okay, oh, fine. Yeah, so guys, I think we are done here. So these were the major food additives that we were supposed to do. And guys, two things are pending now. I completely forgot to add the short tricks. I just checked the message, so someone reminded me, sir, please give us the short trick today for remembering the B complex. So I am extremely sorry. I'll definitely give it to tomorrow, 100%. Okay, and also apart from that, I think tomorrow only I'll talk about the sources that you can refer for part A. What sources you can refer for, your quantitative aptitude, reasoning, or English, or computer, or current affairs. And guys, current affairs, if you want to cover, so cover current affairs of past 8 months, right? So if, for example, if exam might be in January, so January is the possible month when exam might take place. So then start from, you can say, you can start from, I guess, May or April. So from April to December, you guys can, just run through the important current affairs. Don't read each and every current affairs, because at the end of the day, only 5 questions would be asked from the current affair topic. So just read only the important ones. So for those, you can refer to any YouTube channel, right? And also tomorrow I'll discuss what all the sources you can refer. And also, if possible, I'll also, give you a few sources. For example, I can help you with the computer part. I'll give you a few uh, PDFs to read. You can just go through those PDFs and things would be clear, right? Yeah, I mean, some students are saying July to December is okay for current affairs. Yeah, I mean, if you can just, read from June or May, that would be really good. And okay, and guys, if you have any doubt, if you have any question, so just WhatsApp me, right? So I'll take all your question over there. And I hope it's clear, guys. You enjoyed. I hope you guys would have enjoyed the lecture today. If you had enjoyed the lecture, so please give me thumbs up, right? And also stay to the weekly current affairs, because daily current affairs, there are a lot of, unimportant things which are not required for FSSAI, because you are not going to sit for any banking exam. You are giving FSSAI exam, hardly 5 questions would ask from that current affair topic. So just go weekly wise, or even monthly wise, I would suggest. Monthly, just pick a monthly current affair, any journal or any YouTube channel, and you can just cover it, right? And guys, I'll share everything. I'll share the PPTs. I'll share the videos with you guys. So don't worry, you will receive an WhatsApp message in few minutes, or within an hour or half an hour. So I'll share everything with you, because I want you guys to clear this exam. So definitely you take all these resources, study hard, prepare hard, and then we will see you tomorrow, right? So if any question, just ask me. You can WhatsApp me. Okay. And yes, guys, monthly is okay. You just read monthly current affairs, important monthly current affairs. Okay. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for giving me your time. So we'll connect tomorrow again. See you guys. Good night. Take care.